Alrighty, here we are, the end of the semester. Hard to believe and yet amazingly productive, I think, for this class. And I hope you walk away with some new profound skills to put in your tool chest. So as we approach this last week, I wanted to make sure I've communicated to everyone, it's just some of these end of semester things that are really important, right? And so this is the video that I talked about it, but I set this up yesterday. All right, so the last date to submit any work is going to be Wednesday, and I should have put this on here, but December 14th at midnight. So what this means is if you have work that you have done after the due date and there is a 0 in your grade, then you can resubmit that for 25% reduction, but that's better than nothing, right? So any work you want to submit from the beginning can be done has to be done before this date, and I wouldn't wait until here, but just FYI, right? Which really leads to the what if analysis. I think most of you know, but I'm going to show you, and I actually I copied and pasted some information from the Canvas site. So what I'm going to do is switch real quick to the a setting. This is the standard way you see it, but for me I have to switch to what's called student view, and because my resolution is so low I have to find it here. So once you go to your grades, right? You go to your grades and you look. What you can do here is you can actually just hover over and it'll say tests for a different score. So what you'd want to do here is if you're in a position where you're like, okay, I want to get this grade in this class, what do I need to do to achieve that? That's where this what if, like we call it, analysis is helpful. Okay, so you can go through and based on the work that you know that you or that you have thought about, contemplated over the work and your time based on between now and the end of the semester, you can make some good decisions and it will help you. But as a reminder, 50% of our class is from homework, 50% is from classwork. So one thing, if you're right on a border, is just making sure you get all those homeworks done, because sometimes those take less time than the classwork, the actual app work that we've been doing. Okay, so this is just a temporary grade change, and then what you can do, I think it's just a refresh or something, and it'll allow you to take it back. Like if I was to come in here, let's say here, I put 100, right? Which, by the way, not a good scenario, because really if I'm doing late work it's 75, right? So then I think there's somewhere in here, and I think again because I'm looking at it on a lower resolution, right? So it'll say revert to actual grades. Okay. All right. So I wanted to make sure you knew about that particular feature of Canvas if you don't already. Important for between now and the end of the semester. So going back to here is that also I've said this and I want to say it more clearly. If you want to watch this wonderful, in some ways a review, in some ways a little bit new content, but of CS50, Computer Science 50 from Harvard, focused on JavaScript. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. And if you take notes just in any HTML file, send it to me through Canvas, upload it to your repo first, give me a link in Canvas. If you watch the whole thing and take notes, I'll take 2 of your items that are submitted late and I'll give you those points reduced 25% back. Okay, so you still have to do the work, but I'll give you the 25% back on 2 items. Okay, and I definitely think this is worth your time here. So moving on, we are going to hold our last demo day on 12/15 at 3 o'clock. I'll provide pizza, and you guys gals can bring anything you want to share. Right? You're not required to, but if you want to. And you're not required to demo. This came up in class as well, but if you do, I'll allow you to use your demo score to serve as one of your classwork 17 items. So there's 2 classworks like normal in a normal week. So one of those you can use, you can say I'm going to demo. Now by the way, if you don't show up in demo, right, you're going to lose you don't get that. Probably makes sense, right? So, but also that, this should be a fun time. This is really for us to kind of sit down and just, look at how far we've come, look at where we want to go. Definitely is going to be something I'll ask from you. It's like, show us what you have, show us, and we kind of did this last time, right? It's like, talk about maybe the work you've done since the last demo, or if you didn't do the last demo, where your app is at, right? And just show us, demo it, talk about are you gonna take this, are you gonna work on it more, and if so, what are your future plans? Okay. Okay, so that'll happen 3 o'clock on the 15th, which is the day after the night no other late work can be submitted, and really after also all of our work for this course will be done. So I will probably on the next day post grades, so it's really important that you're on that and not waiting until that Friday to ask me to grade anything, because I'm going to say it's too late. You only had until the 14th. Okay. Okay, so also now looking at our list, so this last one moves into, really, and I'm just going to go ahead and move to it, but you can see it here, is our last two items, last three, but let's just call it the last items in our classwork. And I said this last time, so if during week 17 you are working on these, right, good, get those done, but it is discounted because you needed to have moved through the first four by the beginning of the week 16. Okay, so so what I showed you last time was an implementation of the code I did for geolocation, and now I'm going to show you, based on this video that I provided, an example of JSON processing JSON data with Ajax. And first, let me show you just what I ended up doing. Is I took my map, because I created, and this is fairly common and probably better done maybe outside of your directory, that your production directory, what right now for those of us using Firebase, which is I think everyone, probably doing the kind of stuff here would actually be done better somewhere else, maybe even my app work, which by the way, that should be December, so I need to make sure I've updated that. We are into December here. So what I did is last time I had it automatically loading the map, right, when the page was loaded. So what I ended up doing was I took it to where I ended up creating a button that just says calls the function for here. And the reason I've done this, and it takes just a minute for it to flow into the page, right? The reason I've done this is so that, and this will be the next two things I'll do during sometime next week, is now add this functionality into my app, so then when a user signs in, I'll give them an option to ask, ask for their location, and tell them, when you click here, this is what's going to happen. And then once I do that, I can store, and I can ask them if this is their home location, which by the way, I guess I'm showing my home location. But so that was fairly easy, because all I had to do from the last time I showed you this code is just take the callback off of the script. Matter of fact, I think I can also remove this off of there as well. Let me scoot this over just a little bit. And then on my JS file, I just have a function here. Okay, this is no different, so I'm just calling the function based on the button. All right, so that's my next steps, is actually to take this functionality, just place it into my new user setup, and then grab their location to store into the database. Fairly nothing new there. Once I got that, it's just a matter of grabbing, because we have the latitude and longitude here, so it'll be fairly easy. Not fairly, it'll be easy for me to grab these and put them into the database. Okay, so then the last part is based on the video that I've provided to you, and this is really basic, but also covers some of the things we've done. And I really like the layout, the way he's done it, the way he's layered this. This is what you end up with, right? And I ended up putting it here, which was just get my JSON data, right? So and I'm almost done with it, but the idea that he pulls 3 different JSON files. But this video really just provides you a basic understanding of how to make AJAX calls by looking for JSON data through an AJAX call and then processing that data into the page. So what you'd want to do here is you'd want to go and find your app related JSON that's out on the web. Like one thing I've thought about, so just let me stop there. So you taking this and implementing it into your site with your specific data is a good start, but it would not be what I would say a complete example. Because what you want to do, is find app specific JSON that's out on the web. Because it's not typical that you are processing your own JSON, although you could JSONify your content. Probably what you're doing is pulling somebody else's JSON data, right? So I was looking at this to see, like where could I pull maybe some weather data, and as I was looking, it's like sometimes they make you pay, which is kind of a bummer. So you have to figure out, this would be for a company that really wanted, like, oh yeah, I want that data, it's got everything that I need from an API processing. But then I found other ones like the Open Weather Map, which was awesome because in addition to everything else it provided, there was something specific that I wanted, right? My app is based on the footprint we all have, so I was like, okay, this definitely would be something I'm going to look at their API documentation. We'll talk about again the idea of getting a key, right, and then how to process that lat long. These all should seem familiar by now, and then getting this kind of data right into your app would be something I definitely want to do. Okay, so just going back to here. So in this case, all I have left to do here is really final steps on the geolocation, putting it into the database. Got my JSON JAX functionality started. Now I need to go grab specific data for my app. And the last part of this, and hopefully some of you get here by the end of next week, is really the idea of, set somebody down in front of your app once you feel like you have it to a place where you're ready to have a user test it, and without interfering, see what they do when they navigate your app, right? And you can tell them, right, the idea is for you to sign up, right? I mean, because without that they may not be called to action, although your content could be a call to action, should be a call to action for them to sign up. Okay, so that's what I wanted to go over in this video, was the status of that stuff. And then for next semester, for those of you who are interested, I know 82 is something some of you have taken, CIT93, which I'm teaching now, but next semester we're teaching it in a compressed mode. So if you haven't, and it's a little bit, it's intended to go before JavaScript, but regardless, it's part of the web developer program. And in this case, the certificate, if you wanted to have, if you had 85, 82, 85, and 93. So now that you've gotten to 93, if you picked up 82 and 85, that would give you a certificate. So I'm teaching 80, now by the way, I'm actually, like I said, I'm teaching that right now, but I'm teaching it in 18 weeks. But next semester it'll be taught in the 9-week online mode. And then Todd McLeod will be teaching 85 in the back 9, we call it, in the back part of the 9-week semester, face-to-face though. And you can look on the schedule to find that. But if you want to know, also contact me. That'd be great. I could help you find that. And then I know it seems like a forever away, but if you know anybody wanting to take this class, I'll be offering CIT 93 in the 2017 fall semester online in a regular 18-week semester. So taking what I feel we've done well and things I would change in this semester and moving it to the web. And then, and I know this is going to seem like forever, but in the spring 2018, I'll be teaching Node JS for the client side, or the server side, CIT94 as part of our program for our web developer. And that's really if you're moving to the full AS degree. All right, enough from me. Hope to see many of you next week, and if not, definitely for demo day on the 15th at 3 o'clock, and also a wonderful, fun pizza social party. Okay, so that's right here. And this is a different class, so don't worry about that. But, right, last night to submit work. This is our pizza party day, and normal work due next week. All right, have a great weekend.